Welcome to Downtown Sports. My name is Downtown Stephen Brown, and in today's video, guys, I want to properly go over the last couple of games for the Maple Leafs. So, the game against Colorado, the game against Vegas last night, and then the game tonight against Arizona. We'll tee that one up, but I also want to talk about some specific players and just go over a couple of things. Obviously, going back to that game against the Colorado Avalanche, there was no Mitch Marner, no Pierre Engvall, no Ondrej Kase as well. And the lineup just looks like you tossed it in a blender and just threw whatever came out right at the wall and hoped that it would stick. But Alex Kerfoot did have a three-point night, and that line of Bunting, Matthews, and Kerfoot looked pretty awesome together. Nick Ritchie was able to draw back into the lineup for this one, and he scored a goal, and everyone was so happy for him, right? Start the redemption tour, and then towards the end of the game, he promptly takes a penalty right in front of the referee with like 2 or 3 minutes to go, and you're like, Nick, they just blew a 4-1 lead, and we're trying to get this thing into overtime at the bare minimum. Can you not do that right now? But Nick Ritchie will do what Nick Ritchie does. I mentioned the fact that they did blow the 4-1 lead. They looked extremely sluggish in the second, and especially in the third period there. And if you were watching this game, the Colorado Avalanche looked awesome. From the drop of the puck, they absolutely took it to the Toronto Maple Leafs, and they were relentless. You know, the Leafs in the second half of that first period, they got some pretty good scoring opportunities, and they were able to capitalize on them, but they got some penalty trouble, and the Colorado Avalanche have a pretty good power play, you know, and they're going to be able to take advantage of that. But at 5-on-5, the game was fairly close. Maybe not in terms of the shot attempts and the actual shots at 5-on-5, but if you're looking at the scoring chances, 27-26 in favor of the Toronto Maple Leafs. If you're looking at the high danger shot attempts, 11-10 in favor of the Toronto Maple Leafs. If you're looking at the expected goals, slightly in favor of the Toronto Maple Leafs. We mentioned that they looked a little bit slow in that second period and especially in that third period, and Sheldon Keefe had said as much in his post-game interview. And this is the thing where coming into the game, they had won 20 out of their last 25 games, right? They didn't play for 17 days between December the 14th and January the 1st. Their practice facility was closed. All but maybe 1 or 2 guys, including the coaching staff, were placed into COVID protocol over the holidays. I don't really know what to expect from them over the next week or two while everyone is getting back into the swing of things. I don't really know where to place my expectations here, because if you're looking at the NHL standings by points percentage, they are 3rd in the entire league and 2nd in the Atlantic Division, with games in hand over teams like Florida and Tampa Bay. So, obviously, blowing the 4-1 lead, not a good thing, but where it ranks on the games that they have blown a 4-1 lead in, I could probably put this one towards the bottom. If we're looking at the lineup heading into that Vegas Golden Knights game last night, Ondrej Kase back in the lineup, playing on that top line with Auston Matthews and Michael Bunting. And we'll get to talking about some lineup combinations a little bit later on in the video, because some people are throwing out some hypothetical line combinations for when everyone is healthy, and I'm really liking the look of them. Going into this game, the Vegas Golden Knights were without Shea Theodore, no Alec Martinez, no Max Pacioretty, and a couple of other players on their team. Robin Lehner starting in net for them, but I mean, they're still first in the Pacific Division, 6-3-1 in their last 10 games heading into this one. The Leafs were without Marner and Engvall. As far as I'm concerned, it's game on, right? They got Mark Stone. They have Alex Pietrangelo. I'm not really going to feel bad for them. But in this game, yeah, the Leafs were kind of lucky to squeak out a 4-3 shootout win. The first goal that Nylander scored was awesome. Kerfoot winning the puck back, getting into Morgan Rielly. Rielly with a bullet seeing eye pass that landed right on his tape, and Nylander able to make a quick couple of moves to get by a Lehner. Awesome. The game started fantastic for the Leafs, but again, there were long stretches where the Vegas Golden Knights were able to take it to them. I believe the Leafs had 9 shots in the final 45 minutes of this game. They got into some penalty trouble as well, taking 5 penalties to Vegas's 2. And Jack Campbell had to bail them out. I mean, Jack Campbell is allowed to be good, right? He's a player on their team. The goalie, it is a position in hockey. He counts towards the salary cap. Ideally, you'd want the rest of the team to be a little bit better, but it's okay if your goalie is one of your best players and steals you a game here and there. I say here and there because I'm talking about games where it was solely him. He was the only reason why they won. There were games where he was amazing, but so were other components to the team. In this one, it was all him, as the Maple Leafs only had 9 shots in the final 2 periods of this game, including the overtime. But again, I don't know what to attribute being so bad in the second and third period to. Is it them still getting back into the swing of things? How much time do we have to allow to pass before we can be critical of this team again? Is it them being bad? Is it Vegas being good? Is it a combination of all 3 of those things? I don't know, because if you're looking at the numbers from the first period in all situations here, the shot attempts were 24-8 Maple Leafs. The shots were 9-6 Maple Leafs. The scoring chances were 15-4 Maple Leafs. And I believe the score was 2-0. You know, why were they so bad in the second and the third period? Did they just run out of gas again? And when can we, when has enough time passed? I don't know. They still didn't have Marner, no Engvall. I don't know. And I guess that's where I'm going to need some help from you guys in the comment section. What do you guys think? You watched the game probably the same as I did. Is it a combination of all 3 things? Is it one more than the other? Let me know. But to get back into talking about some positive things here, Rasmus Sandin was credited with 10 hits in this one against the Vegas Golden Knights, including one that was an absolute bone crusher where he just said, "You want to come over my blue line?" Yeah, no, I don't think so. And just laid that guy right on his back. We've touched on penalties a couple of times in this video so far, and as Shane points out here, the Leafs take the 5th fewest penalties in the league so far this year per 60. Colorado takes the 6th most, Vegas the 20th, and the power plays in the 2 games so far have been 9-3 for Colorado and Vegas. There was the tripping call on Kyle Clifford where he was sort of directing the Vegas player into the boards and the Vegas player sort of just falls. And maybe you can make the argument that that's Clifford's foot in between his skates that trips him up, but in the playoffs, that's probably not called. There was the penalty on Nick Ritchie that he took when the Maple Leafs were on the power play, and probably not a penalty in the playoffs, but again, Nick, maybe you could be a little bit more mindful. That's back-to-back games where you took penalties that you just didn't need to. But there was a point in this game where Michael Bunting was very upset with the officials. And to the point where you can audibly hear him yell an expletive on the broadcast. And rightfully so. He's standing on the offensive blue line here trying to tip a puck to negate an icing. And a Vegas player, you can actually see in the clip, reach over the boards and grab his stick. That's a bench minor of some sort. I don't know exactly what the penalty is, but between the official standing here, one over here, and one more, I imagine, deep in the Vegas zone, they didn't see it. The Maple Leafs get called for the icing, and this is late in the game. 4 minutes to go in the third period. It's tied. That's a pretty important missed call. Mikheyev banged in another goal in front of the net on a rebound in this one, and that marks 4 goals in his last 4 games. Hey, I mean, good for him, right? Cobra Kai Season 4 on Netflix was pretty good, and so is Ilya Mikheyev right now. We said that we were going to discuss hypothetical line combinations a little bit earlier in the video, and I really like Bunting, Matthews, and Kase once everyone is healthy. I don't know about splitting up Nylander, Tavares, and Marner. I don't really like the idea of having any of those guys on the 3rd or 4th line. If they can make it work together, great. If they can't, maybe you try something different. But if the Maple Leafs are looking for an addition to their top 6, maybe it's as simple as just putting Ondrej Kase there full time. Because in the limited amount of ice time that he's gotten in their top 6 and on the power play, he's been fantastic in all of it. When he's healthy, he is a top 6 forward. He is the player that he used to be with the Anaheim Ducks. Of course, the asterisk there is when he is healthy, and the Maple Leafs have been giving him his maintenance days, and they are babying it. Come playoff time, I really, really hope that that guy's at 100% or at least close to it, because he could be a real X factor for this team. The fact that the Maple Leafs have Michael Bunting for under $1 million and Ondrej Kase for $1.25 million this year, and Michael Bunting is already signed for next year, still at under $1 million, and Kase is going to be an RFA as well, is unbelievable. I don't think that we talk about that enough. I think that, the uncertainty with Mrazek, because he's been injured basically all year and he's played like 4 games, that gets talked about a lot. The Nick Ritchie situation, that gets talked about a lot. But We don't talk about this enough. We don't talk about the amazing value that the Leafs are getting from these two guys, and the fact that they're probably going to have both of them again next year. Just a quick side note to throw in here, Auston Matthews does have 13 goals and 18 points in his 11 games since the start of December, so he's absolutely on fire. And over that same stretch, William Nylander has 7 goals in his last 11 games and 15 points as well, so the two of those guys playing on separate lines are absolutely on fire over the last month or so. And it was announced yesterday that Peter Mrazek is going to be playing tonight against the Arizona Coyotes on the second half of the back-to-back. It is another late start, but Auston Matthews playing in his hometown, Michael Bunting playing against his former team. Hopefully there's some buzz and energy for the Buds, as well as buzzsaw. That's what Jason Spezza called Anze Kasha. They talked about it on the broadcast. I don't know. Tried to fit in buzz, buds, and buzzsaw. I guess it wasn't very funny. But anyway, I guess I didn't really have a point. But the Arizona Coyotes did cancel practice a little bit earlier on in the week, and there were some concerns there, but it looks like they're going to be good to go for tonight. They're one of the league's worst teams, so getting back into the swing of it or not, please play well. I mentioned it towards the end of yesterday's video. I didn't really like yesterday's video. I didn't really like the effort that I put into it. I thought it was a little bit rushed. I'm sort of getting back into the swing of it as well. I worked a lot over the last 2 weeks, helping out at the Bell Media building. Fingers crossed, my internship with TSN is still on, and I'm going to be starting there February the 1st. Like I said, I'm getting back into the swing of it as well. I wasn't too happy with yesterday's video after I posted it. One, because there was no audio, but two, I felt like I could have just done a better job presenting the information, talking about a couple of other players as well. I don't know. Lots of time to make up for it. I'm going to have a lot of time to post a lot of content this month, so expect to see a lot of videos. But like I said, we mentioned this towards the end of yesterday's video. And it's worth pointing out here because Sheldon Keefe's comments, aside from the back-to-back that they have yesterday and tonight, there's at least 2 days between every other one of their games in January. So Sheldon Keefe saying that we can expect Jack Campbell to play the majority of those games, but he also notes the importance of getting Peter Mrazek into some more games here and making sure that he's playing well and up to speed because they're going to need him in February, March, and April when the schedule condenses a bit and they're playing quite a few makeup games. The Leafs don't have as many games to make up as some other teams because they had more games played than most of the other teams at the time when all the games were getting postponed, but still important to get Peter Mrazek into games, even though Jack Campbell, we can expect him to play the majority of the rest of the games for January. And it's important when Sheldon Keefe talks about how many games Jack Campbell is going to play because he's played a lot of them. He's been fantastic in all of them, but he's played 53 out of the team's last 66 games, if you include last year's playoffs. And that's a lot. That would put him on pace to play 65 games in an 82-game season. And I believe his career high is 31, and that came back in 2018-2019. By the way, this is from an article that I wrote with TheLeafsNation.com from Saturday. A little bit of old news, but there's still a lot of good stuff in there. I'll leave it linked in the description if you wanted to check it out. Expect to see me more there. I don't know. I'm really tired. I'm going to be writing for them more moving forward. I just figured that I would throw this on to the end of this video here, but the Maple Leafs did place Engvall and Marner into COVID protocol on January the 7th. It is the 12th right now. I know the latest update that we got was yesterday, which said that they would be doubtful to play in either the Vegas game and the game against the Coyotes. But if there is an update, because the isolation period, I believe, is 5 days, no symptoms, and consecutive negative tests, I guess. I don't know. Don't quote me on it. I am very tired, but if there's any updates, I will leave it in a pinned comment in the comment section. I think over the last 2 weeks, between the holidays, helping out with what I was doing at the Bell Media building and operating the channel, I've worked well over 100 hours. So, I'm going to edit this video, upload it, and then I'm going to take a nap. I also had my booster shot this morning, so I'm going to take a nap. There's a late game on tonight. Yeah, I'm going to have a nap. If the content, like I said, hasn't been the greatest over the last week or two, I apologize. I know I haven't been the happiest with it. If you're sitting there thinking to yourself, what do you mean, Steven? I've enjoyed all the videos. Bless you. I love you. If you've noticed, hey, maybe Steven's not, 100%. I've just been really tired, kind of been all over the place, long hours. Shot a lot of the videos over the last 2 weeks at like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning.